Today I'll be recapping a romance Republican-era Chinese drama called Maid's Revenge, episodes 16 to 30. It starts with the stepsister telling Yuze that she is pregnant. Yuze doesn't want to keep it and so arranges for a termination. The stepsister loses her mind, which actually saves her life, since Yuze was planning to terminate her as well. This alarms TingYao, who goes to Qian for help. After a bit of teasing, he promises to get a doctor for her. He then asks whose side she'd pick if he and Yuze ever get into a fight. She is vague and says she can only tell when the day comes. This answer is good enough and it makes him happy. Yuze completely loses it when he sees Dr. Chen being ushered out after attending the stepsister. He says to TingYao that she seems to go to Qian for help instead of him. TingYao is bewildered by Yuze's obvious change in demeanor. Later, Qian tells Yuze that if he stops and come clean with his wrongdoings, he will overlook them and help him. However, Yuze refuses and swears to torture him, since he has always been jealous of Qian for being appointed as the governor. We see Yuze is colluding with a mole maid who's indebted to him, to make TingYao want him desperately as before. Meanwhile, TingYao is in the garden looking at a magnolia tree when a servant tells her that it was Qian, the then young master, who planted the tree. This makes her realize that Qian is the young master she has been crushing on since childhood, and not Yuze. She then runs into the lieutenant and tells him to pass a message for her to Qian. TingYao excitedly looks for her purse, which contains magnolia petals given to her by the young master years ago. The mole maid interrupts her and gives her a letter. Meanwhile, the lieutenant relays TingYao's message to Qian that he should keep their date promised 15 years ago. He remembers the promise and it makes him happy. Back to TingYao, the letter she receives is apparently the letter TingYao sent to his guards ordering them to kill everyone at the Dong mansion except for Miss Dong, complete with his seal. In her grief, she forgets his seal is on his body. Blinded by grief, she confronts him with a dagger, and he dares her to do it. TingYao is hesitant, so he guides the dagger for her. They are found by the lieutenant, who would have shot TingYao dead if Qian didn't stop him. The lieutenant then tells TingYao that she's the most ungrateful girl. Qian at last cut her off from him. TingYao regrets what she did. Yuze finds her crying and tries to pacify her, but he is happy deep down. The next morning, the lieutenant tells the family that Qian is recuperating in his room, and that he will marry Ming Yue the following month. TingYao is shocked, while Grandma Fang is happy. Afterwards, TingYao confides in her stepsister and then heads to see Qian. However, the lieutenant finds her and mocks her. She defends that Qian massacred her family. He questions her if she really believes it, then tells her to follow him as he will show her something. The lieutenant tells her everything, and that the men Qian made her shoot were perpetrators they arrested, so in a way she had her revenge. Also, Qian didn't tell her anything as a way of protecting her. TingYao tries really hard to see Qian, but doesn't succeed. Finally, Qian appears with an elated Ming Yue. In no time, the wedding preparation for both couple is underway. TingYao finds it hard seeing Qian being attentive to Ming Yue, therefore goes to vent to her stepsister. The stepsister gives her a letter containing a list of numbers. When she was still sane, she had told TingYao to ask the military about it. TingYao also remembers seeing the same set of numbers in Yuze's desk. One morning, TingYao bumps into Qian. Getting her chance, she confronts him about his wedding. He tells her that he tried hard to win her before, so why does she care about him marrying Ming Yue now? She simply answers that she doesn't like it. Their conversation gets interrupted by Ming Yue, who takes Qian away. However, later on she sneaks into Qian's room after Dr. Chen leaves. She tells him not to marry Ming Yue, absolutely forbidding him. He gets off bed and calls her shameless and that it's too late. She hugs him from behind and relentlessly confesses her love. This moves Qian, so he hugs her back. He also confesses his love, she kisses him and he proceeds to carry her to bed. Afterwards, Qian breaks off his pretend relationship with Ming Yue. She is upset, but still reminds him of their deal. They agreed that they'll make TingYao jealous and in return her father will be removed from prison, and that they won't work with Yuze again. TingYao finds out from the lieutenant that the list of numbers in the paper she showed him were passcode. She sneaks into Yuze's office and hurriedly copies some secret information from his notebook. When Yuze gets back, he immediately realizes that someone was in his office. Yuzhe proceeds to go to Tianyi to gloat about his upcoming wedding, and asks Tianyi to officiate his wedding. Tianyi agrees, but later on he has a lovely private moment with TingYao. Yuzhe gets a call informing him that Ming Yu's father is no longer cooperating with him. Meanwhile, Grandma Feng questions TingYao about a gossip by the servants that TingYao stayed at Tianyi's bedroom overnight, which she confirms. Grandma Feng is enraged and calls her shameless. She adds that she can't allow TingYao to marry her only son, since a fortune teller had warned against it. TingYao retorts that she doesn't believe the fortune teller. TingYao sneaks into Yuzhe's office again and copies more documents. Unfortunately, she gets caught. He tries to guilt-trip her, but she confronts him about killing her family, and for instigating her to kill Tianyi. She then taunts him and compares him to Tianyi. He gets so enraged that he pushes her onto his desk. The lieutenant finally informs Tianyi that TingYao has been secretly gathering information from Yuzhe, and he gets concerned. It looks like Yuzhe has violated TingYao. Yuzhe goes ahead to tell her that he begged his late mother to betroth him to TingYao just to spite Tianyi, and that he massacred her family so as to get her father's hidden ammunitions. When Tianyi finally gets home, he immediately looks for TingYao but finds Yuzhe instead. Yuzhe smugly tells him that TingYao is now his woman. Tianyi is infuriated and takes out his gun and put it against Yuzhe's head. The mansion is under Yuzhe's control now, making Tianyi powerless. Yuzhe threatens TingYao's life, who is nowhere to be found, if Tianyi dares to kill him. Tianyi then allows himself to be tied up. Yuzhe confesses to killing Tianyi's father after the father found out his illegal dealings. Yuzhe has Grandma Feng and TingYao brought in. In front of them, he stabs Tianyi after confessing to killing Grandpa Feng and TingYao's father. Grandma Feng is enraged and frightened, so she is taken outside, while TingYao begs him not to hurt Tianyi anymore. She manages to grab something, but it's hopeless as Yuzhe points a gun at her. The stepsister comes brandishing a dagger, but gets shot. Turns out she was never crazy, but just biding her time to take revenge on Yuzhe. Before dying, she tells TingYao to avenge their family. When Yuzhe is distracted finishing off the bruised Tianyi, TingYao finds a gun and remembering how Tianyi taught her how to shoot a gun, she shoots Yuzhe on the back. She rushes to Tianyi, who says he's glad that they can now marry legally, then they kiss. Turns out Yuzhe is still alive, and he finds a gun and aims it at the two lovers. Tianyi uses his body to cover TingYao from the bullet. In retaliation, TingYao shoots Yuzhe several times, ending his miserable life. Tianyi tells TingYao where the map of the ammunitions is, and asks her to look after his mother. He passes away in her arms. 5 years later, TingYao is the new governor and very good at it. She avenged her family and Tianyi by killing everyone involved. One day as she's leaving the governor's headquarters, she notices a bullet on the ground next to a young recruit. The young recruit turns out to be a doppelganger of Tianyi. She calls him Tianyi, but he corrects her that he is Yuchen. She smiles at him and he can't help but smile back at her, then he remembers he is a soldier and goes back to being guarded. That's the end of Maid's Revenge. Subscribe, like, comment, and share for more content like this. Bye.